Hello mathematicians, here we are in video 3 for solving, and today we're going to put the last two ideas together. That is that we're going to have to add or subtract and then multiply or divide in order to solve today's problems. So that's double the fun for today. We're going to start off with a problem that looks like this. 3y minus 7 equals 8. Now notice we have some subtraction happening and we also have some multiplication happening, so we're going to have to do two things to get this done. So here's how we do these. We always look to the side with the variable and we deal with any addition or subtraction first. So we look to the side with the variable, that's the side that's got the variable, and we try to figure out if we're adding or subtracting anything, and if we are, we're going to do the opposite. So when I look at this side, I see that we're subtracting, and the opposite of subtraction is to add. So what I'm going to do is add 7, and notice I line it up right there with the 7 in my original equation. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so I'm going to add 7 to that side as well. Now on this side, when you have a negative 7 and a positive 7, they kind of cancel each other out. If you had 7 minus 7, you just get 0. So they cancel each other out, but don't forget we still have 3y hanging out up here. It didn't go away. So we still have 3y. I'm going to write my equal sign because that didn't go away either. And then I look to 8 plus 7, and I know that 8 plus 7 is 15. So now we're halfway through the process. Remember, I said what we're going to do today is combine those last two ideas. So we're going to either add or subtract, and then we're going to have to multiply or divide to finish solving these. We always start by looking for any addition or subtraction that's happening and deal with that first. And when we're done, we look to the side with the variable and try to figure out if there's any multiplication or division that is happening, and we'll do the opposite of that as well. So this says 3y equals 15. On the side with the variable, we have a 3, and there's an implied multiplication here. This says 3 times y. Since we're going to do the opposite, we'll divide this term by 3. What we do to one side, we need to do to the other as well. Keep everything balanced. These 3's are going to cancel each other out. That leaves me with y. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And don't forget to bring your equal sign along. So we have solved this equation. We got y equals 5. That's my answer. It is that simple. We're going to do two steps in all of these. That's why they're called two-step equations. Okay? All right. Looks good. I think, so I'm trying to find one that looks like it's tough, difficult, something. Let's look at R. It's the last one on the page. It says negative 13 is equal to 7y plus 64. All right. Now remember, step 1 was what? Look to the side where you have the variable and try to find any addition or subtraction that's happening there. I see addition. Do the opposite. If I'm adding 64, then I want to subtract 64. I'm going to line those up. What you do to one side, we'll need to do to the other side. Now, negative 13 minus 64. When you get, tough problems like that, you always take out your calculator. Everybody should have their calculator. And we're going to do a negative 13 minus 64. All right. That gives us negative 77. Still have our equal sign. Over here on the right, I have a 7y, so I'll go ahead and write that down. That didn't change, didn't go anywhere. But I do have a positive 64 and a negative 64, and just like what happened over here when I had a negative 7 and a positive 7, they cancel each other out. If you had a positive 64 and you subtracted 64 from it, you'd get 0. And so we could write a plus 0, but that would just kind of confuse things. Since 0 means nothing, we don't need to add nothing to the end of this, and we're just going to write it like that. Okay, we're halfway there. These are two-step equations. We finished step 1. We've dealt with the addition that we found by doing the opposite. Here's our equation as it sets. We look to the side with the variable, and we try to find any multiplication or division that's happening there. In this case, I see multiplication. This is 7 times y. There's an implied multiplication between the two of them. We do the opposite. Since it's being multiplied by 7, we're going to divide by 7. The fraction bar means divide by, so that's divide by 7. On the left-hand side, if I had negative 77 and I divided by 7, I would get negative 11. There's still an equal sign. The 7s are going to cancel each other. When you have one on top and one on the bottom, you can cancel them out when you're dividing, right? Only during division. But that leaves us with a y, so I'm going to write that, because y didn't disappear just because the 7s canceled. Didn't mean the y did. And so I get negative 11 is equal to y. Now, equals, you have something over here and something over here, and they're equal to each other. You could swap them. You could say, oh, well, I'll just switch their positions, because a lot of people like to put the variable on the left-hand side and write this as y equals negative 11. That really means the same thing. Nothing's changed. They're equal to each other, so it doesn't matter which side that we write them on. They're going to be the same either way. So whether you want to say this is your answer or you want to say this is your answer, they really mean the same thing. And we're finished. Two-step equations should just take you 2 steps. Maybe it's a new dance. Do the two-step, do the two-step, do the two-step. Well, go ahead, 2-step through your worksheet today. Good luck to you, and we'll see you next video.